Welcome to Revenge Tales.
Imagine the guy who made your teenage years a living hell. The one who laughed at your pain, pushed you down, and walked away like you were nothing. Now imagine getting the chance to quietly destroy his world, without him ever knowing it was you. Because that's exactly what Michael did. 13 years after the torment, he finally got his revenge, not with fists, but with something much colder. And oh, it was beautiful. If you've ever dreamed of seeing karma catch up to someone who deserved it, hit that like button and get ready, because this story is about the kind of revenge that doesn't just hurt. It haunts. Let's dive into the story of how one quiet kid turned the tables on his high school bully and walked away smiling. Back in high school, Michael was the kind of kid who tried to stay invisible. He wasn't loud, he wasn't tough, he wasn't the guy with friends cheering him on in the hallway. He was quiet, wiry, a little awkward, the type of kid bullies smell from a mile away. And the bloodhound that found him, his name was Bill. Bill was the classic small-town tyrant, decent looks, decent build, decent charm, and an indecent obsession with making others feel small. He wasn't even the most popular guy in school. Just the loudest, the one who laughed hardest when others flinched. And for some reason, Michael became his favorite target. It started small, a shove during gym, a basketball thrown a little too hard. But soon, it became routine. Bill would punch Michael in the back of the head when no one was looking. Grab his collar in the hallway just to watch him freeze. Whisper jokes behind him loud enough for others to hear. Michael learned to shrink himself, to make his body smaller, his footsteps quieter, his voice disappear entirely. He'd go home every day with a pounding headache and a silent scream lodged in his chest. But no one really noticed. No one ever does. Years went by, and Bill eventually got suspended, then expelled. The universe seemed to give Michael a tiny sliver of justice, but the damage was already done. That humiliation, that helplessness, it doesn't just vanish after graduation. It lingers. It burrows into your identity until you start believing you deserved it. Michael carried that wound through his 20s. He worked hard. He rebuilt himself. He became stronger, sharper, even confident. But buried underneath all that growth was something cold and unresolved, a seed of anger that never fully died. Then one night, 13 years later, Michael was scrolling through Facebook, that digital graveyard of forgotten faces, when he saw him. Bill, smiling, flexing, arm around his fiancée. The same face that had sneered at him in high school. Now basking in the perfect, happy life. And that was the moment something inside Michael clicked. Not rage, not jealousy, purpose. Michael wasn't the kind of man to throw punches anymore. But revenge, that he could handle differently. He thought about all those times Bill laughed as he walked away. All those times he made Michael feel powerless. And for the first time in his life, Michael realized he now held the power. It started as a simple idea: make him pay. But do it so he never sees it coming. Michael studied Bill's Facebook profile like a detective. He wasn't looking for friendship anymore. He was looking for leverage. That's when he noticed her, Bill's fiancée, pretty, happy, completely unaware of who she was engaged to. So Michael clicked on her page. Then her friends list, then her parents, her brother, cousins, college friends. Within hours, he had a web of names, every close person in her life. And with those names came addresses, easily accessible through sites like White Pages. He printed them all out, his fingers trembling not from fear, but from anticipation. He knew this wasn't a crime of passion, it was surgical. The next few days were methodical. Michael drove to a Walmart 2 cities away, where he bought envelopes paid in cash. Then to a pharmacy in another town for stamps, again, cash only. No cameras, no receipts, no paper trail. Then came the letter. He went to a public library, Not his local one, but a massive library in a city where no one knew him. He used a guest computer, printed documents using coins, and signed in under his name, but no ID was checked. And on that computer, he typed the letter that would burn Bill's life to the ground. Dear, I know it's strange to receive this, and I apologize. But I feel compelled to reach out, for fiancé's name as safety. I used to date Bill. At first, he was charming, sweet, even, but over time, he changed. He became violent, controlling. I tried to leave, but he'd find ways to pull me back. Once, he gave me a black eye. Another time, he hit me so hard I ended up in the hospital with a broken rib. I truly hope he's changed, but if he hasn't, please be careful. From a concerned former partner. He printed 10 copies of it, each one addressed to a different person, her parents, her friends, her siblings. Each sealed carefully with gloves to avoid fingerprints. He didn't just want to ruin Bill's reputation. He wanted to infect his relationships, one whisper at a time. Late at night, hoodie up, surgical mask on, glasses hiding his eyes, Michael drove several cities away to a crowded postal drop box. It was busy enough that security cameras couldn't focus on anyone specific. He slid each envelope in slowly, one by one, heart pounding with adrenaline. It wasn't guilt, it was power, the kind he'd never felt before. For the first time, he was the one setting the trap. Then he walked away, quietly, disappearing back into the night. Weeks passed, then months. Michael didn't obsessively check. He wasn't that kind of man anymore, but one lazy afternoon, curiosity got the better of him. He logged into Facebook, typed Bill's name, and scrolled through. And what he saw stopped him cold. Bill's profile had changed, his relationship status. No longer engaged, no engagement photos. No happy comments. No can't wait to spend my life with you posts. Just gone. Michael's lips curved into the first genuine smile he'd felt in years. He didn't know exactly what had happened. Maybe the fiancé confronted him. Maybe her parents warned her. Maybe friends whispered behind his back until she couldn't ignore it anymore. It didn't matter. What mattered was that Bill, the man who once made Michael feel worthless, was now the one explaining himself, defending himself. And the best part, he had no idea who did it. Michael had stolen his peace, his credibility, and his future, with a printer and an idea. A year later, Michael decided to add one final flourish. He sent Bill another anonymous letter, no words this time. Just a giant, bold smiley face taking up the entire page. A silent reminder, a message that said, "I'm still out here. And I'm still smiling." Revenge stories usually end in chaos, regret, guilt, or even legal trouble. But for Michael, this wasn't blind rage. It was poetic justice. He didn't threaten anyone. He didn't break a law. He didn't even raise his voice. He simply took the truth of who Bill was, a bully, a manipulator, and weaponized it against him. And that's what makes this story so satisfying. Because revenge isn't always about hurting someone physically. Sometimes it's about making sure they live with the fear that they'll never escape the consequences of what they did. Bill may never find out who exposed him, but deep down, he'll always wonder. Every new relationship, every new friend, every new smile, he'll wonder who's watching. Who knows, who remembers, and that's a punishment that never ends. Maybe this story isn't just about revenge. Maybe it's about closure, the kind you have to build for yourself when the world never gave it to you. Because sometimes the sweetest revenge is knowing they'll never sleep quite as peacefully again. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button and tell us in the comments. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? And if you believe karma always finds its way home, make sure to subscribe for more true stories that prove it. Because sometimes The quietest people have the loudest payback.